Jordan here. It's my last appointment on Friday, whatever day it is already.
Definitely Friday.
Already confused. PAX. I'm here at Bryan. We're taking a look at Dragon Fantasy Book 2. It's coming out PS3, Vita, which is one thing that pulled me to it. I recently bought a Vita just because I want to play some RPGs, and that seems to be the system for it right now.
They're kind of like trying to pull all of them onto the Vita. I mean, if you look back to the PlayStation 1, the PSX, that was the place for RPGs.
Yep.
And I think they kind of missed that, and they want to be that again.
Yep.
So they're getting them all, and we're happy to be there.
Even the back catalog. Taking my money. Thanks, Sony.
Yeah. That's what happens.
But why don't you tell us a little bit about the game, what we can expect? It is the second in line.
It is the second in line. Okay, let's see here. It is Dragon Fantasy Book 2. It is a 16-bit era-esque JRPG, kind of heavily influenced by Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VI, Lufia 2, that whole era of RPGs. So the real goal here was like, let's take the best from all of these games and really try to wrap it up into one game. Let's take all of our childhood that we wanted to make. So Adam, who's the creative director and writer for this game, when he and I were 14, we were internet friends. It sounds so weird to say that.
Does it nowadays?
Well, no, but when we were 14, it was very weird to say that. So we decided, hey, let's make a game together because we knew each other from IRC, which was that thing you talked on before Facebook, kids. And so,
God, you're making me feel old. I'm not even that old.
I make myself feel old. That's okay. So we had this grand idea. Let's make a game like Chrono Trigger because it just came out. How hard could it be for two guys who had no clue how to make a game, no clue how to program, no clue how to anything? Apparently, it's hard. But over half of our lives later, we finally came back and decided to do it. So, like I said, it is a 60-bit style game because that's what we modeled it after. Like when we were teenagers and wanted to make that. So we tried to take the best. So there's no random battles because everybody I know hates random battles.
So I got 30 seconds till the next one.
Exactly. And Book 1 had random battles because it was modeled after the 8-bit RPGs like Dragon Quest or Dragon Warrior 1. And so we decided let's kind of move up to the arrows. So now we don't. Now you see the enemies on the map. You can run away from them when they charge at you. Don't do it too often because you'll end up with 8 guys all chasing you down, and then you'll have to fight all 8 of them at once.
And picking it up and playing with it a little bit, that was a little cool because you get to see your people again.
You do.
And you can interact with your little monsters or whatever to a degree to where you start to learn the kind of distance you can get to, but like you said, you can kind of
you can actually get really good at like peeling them off one at a time, so you can face them if they're a bit higher level. I mean, the big focus was we wanted battles to be a lot more interesting, which means, and most JRPGs, combat consists of you mashing the button, hitting the fight command until the battle goes away, and that is not fun. It's a huge amount of the time you spend in most of these games, but if you're just doing this for 20 minutes, you're not really enjoying yourselves. So we do huge battles. We'll put you up against a dozen enemies at once, and you have a ton of like AoE style abilities, similar to say linear attacks, area effects, circles, and whatnot. So the idea is that at any given time, you should almost never just hit the fight button unless you're completely out of mana points. There's always a skill that will be able to make it a faster battle if you do it smartly. We also have a lot of buffs in this game, so you can like raise your strength or lower your enemy's defense. And we wanted to actually let you be more smart about the combat, and so that you're not tempted to just button mash through it. So that's a big part of what we wanted to do.
Right on. And just looking at the style, trying to mimic that 16-bit when a lot of the world still does the 8-bit. I mean, just listening to the subtle differences in the music, because I mean, there is a huge difference between, say, like a Genesis processing, or like an old school Atari 2600 trying to process. You can tell just that difference in those chips, and it's there. And the music was interesting too. On that note, because it's kind of deceiving. Okay. In a way, well, no, in a good way. Like you would, jump into a game like that, you would simple, not a whole lot, but the music has depth. It kind of prepares you a little bit for what's coming up, but at the same time, like I said, it deceives you. It doesn't want to. It lures you into it.
So we lied, but it's a good thing. No. Honestly, the music was done by a guy named Dale North. who some of your viewers might know as the editor-in-chief of Destructoid, who always wanted to make music for a JRPG. And in my opinion, he completely killed it. He knocked it out of the park. I love the music in this game. And like you said, it's not quite what it was back then, but it just kind of harkens that feeling of like the 16-bit RPG, which we really wanted to do. In the first game, we had this awesome chiptune musician do all the music because it was NES style and there were chiptunes. And for this, we want to find something that can really just knock it out of the park. Like I said, I think he did. I'm not at all biased just because it's my game, guys. Really.
Did you find it kind of hard because you mentioned that you changed the battle system up again and transitioning from the first one to the second one? Because you know how sometimes that happens, somebody will change the system around completely and there'll be outrage, or somebody will say it doesn't feel the same, or...
Yeah, but everyone likes what we've done because almost everyone's played it like, I was so sick. Like, I loved book 1, but I hate random battles. And we're like, well, good news, in book 2 they're gone. And so, like, we changed a lot of the games. Literally, it's trying to be like a generational belief from like the late 80s to the late 90s, I guess, which is, again, I'm making myself feel old. But, so the idea is like, let's update everything. Let's take away the things that sucked about these games. So there's a bunch of side quests in the game. We call them bounty hunts. And we actually give you a quest log for all your bounty hunts, and including the main storyline of the game. And you can always look up like, what was I doing again? Because so often in these games, I play for a while and I put it down and I come back a few days later and I'm literally staring at my guy for 10 minutes. Okay, where was I going and why?
I think that's something we've kind of gotten used to, though, too. In modern-day games, we use that tracker, that log,
well,
so we can put it
a
down.
Modern nicety kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so the idea is that we live busy lives, especially everyone in our company. We're all in our 30s now. We all have families. Half of us have kids. I say half, like 4 is a lot, big number to have half of them, but half of us have kids. And so it's like I'm lucky if I can play a game for more than half an hour in a sitting. So constantly being interrupted and having my kid run up and mash the buttons or whatever, it's great that I can go back and be like, oh wait, where did he say I need to go again? Because I might have missed it. So we really kind of want to take the best of what made these games great with some of the nice modern things we're used to.
Did you find, because JRPGs have a long history of deep storylines that, you don't necessarily differ for them that much? Did you try to incorporate that modern aspect of it?
So book 1 tells a story of an old, retired, fat knight that used to be the typical spiky-haired JRPG hero. And then he slew all the dragons, had his hair burned off by dragon fire, and is now the old bald man who played in book 1 and now in book 2. So we kind of make a little fun of that. The story definitely has evolved as we've gone on. It's a lot deeper than the first game story. At the same time, we pride ourselves on humor because we like to think we're funny, and apparently people agree. So all the enemies kind of have quirky flavor tags. Yeah. We have the monsters like Mr. and Mrs. Rock, kind of our token characters, like bickering at each other with marital disputes. And we kind of want to, it's a quote-unquote serious game about trying to keep the world from ending, because that's kind of what you have to make an RPG about. But at the same time, it's quirky and fun, and we litter the world with all these books that you're supposed to read because there's a trophy, and trophies mean you have to do it. So,
chasing the flag.
And they're all kind of trying to be funny and humorous. And unlike book 1, there is a platinum in this one. That is the #1 question we get from almost everybody on the forums and whatnot. Is there a platinum? Like, yes, there is. Buy my game, you platinum hunting people. But it's not going to be easy because you still have to do all of the trophies, including leveling a guy to 99. It's not as bad as it sounds. Your characters start at so again, it's book 2. Book 1 ended at a certain point, and your characters start at roughly the level they would have been had you beaten the first game. Okay. So while you don't need to have played the first game, all the characters are reintroduced. The whole story is like, this is what you're doing now. We present all that, so if you never played the first game, or if you just hate random battle 8-bit style RPGs, you don't need to. But at the same time, it kind of carries over where, well, this is roughly where you would have been had you beat the first game. So you're starting off on like level 26, I think, for one of the characters, Ogden, and you can also capture a bunch of monsters and they level up fairly quickly, and especially towards the end of the game where they're high level already when you get them.
Yeah. Well, good. It's good that you incorporate that idea, so you're not alienating people out of the back.
And and so we kind of wanted to make sure that if this is the first game of ours they pick up, because we've done so many, we want to make sure people can just play and have fun. We want to give nobody any reason whatsoever not to play this game.
So since you started this at such a young age, the whole series, do you find, I mean, did you make some notebook somewhere that you had stashed with story ideas that you went back to?
So Adam, like I mentioned, he's like the creative director slash writer of this game, and he kind of had this whole like story arc in his head. And it was what you would expect a teenager's story arc to be, and the characters were all based on family and friends of his. Now we've incorporated, like, all of our families are in the game as pirates in the pirate village. Including my 7-year-old son, who is a quest giver. He was so excited. But, so the idea is that, you know, we kind of incorporated that, and the story kind of evolved quite a bit, that's what it was. But there is this global story arc that we're still playing out from this game we came up with, like, I don't know, almost 20 years ago. Wow, that's depressing to say.
But it might not be so depressing when you think about it, because you're championing the days of your youth.
Exactly. I'm living out my childhood dream. It only took me most of my life.
It might have took a while, but you're doing it.
Hey, and honestly, there's something to be said for that. See, kids, you too can reach your goal.
All right. Well, I know the first one's available on the PS Store.
It is available. $9.99. It's on sale this week, which I don't know if this is going to get out in time before the store updates on Tuesday. But this week it's $5 or $2.50 if you're a PlayStation Plus member. September 10th, Book 2 comes out. It is $14.99. And for the first week it'll be on sale 20% off if you're a PlayStation Plus member.
And it's cross-buy as well, right?
It is cross-buy, so if you buy it on the PS3 or the Vita, you have it on both. It is cross-save so that you can actually upload your save data to the cloud and pick up your other system and download it as you play.
Are you going to be looking towards doing any kind of, I guess, bonus story material or download anything like that?
We have some updates already planned. One of which, the game was originally going to launch with multiplayer. And it kind of got pulled at the last moment because it wasn't quite where we wanted it to be, and it was threatening our launch date, and we really needed to launch the game. So there is a 1.1 patch in the works that will add the multiplayer back in, where you can have a friend jump in and take over part of your party, and you can kind of wander the map together or separately, and you can be in separate battles, or if your friend's in battle, you can run over and jump in and help them. And so we do have multiplayer. We have a bunch of other stuff we want to add. It's really going to be a matter of how much we're able to do post-launch, but the multiplayer thing is coming. The hope is that I have a bunch of things I wish we could have gotten in that we want to add in post-download. Book 1, people who bought it on PSN, the game was already done at that point because we originally did it on mobile. The people who got it on mobile knew that we released a chapter of the game, and then we added like 3 more entire chapters of content after that. So we kind of have a track record of trying to keep doing more, and we definitely have things that we want to add to this after the game comes out.
Well, if you don't, there's 3.
And if the game does well enough, there could always be a book 3. Exactly.
Towards the future.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I want to take a little bit of time with you today.
I appreciate it.
Until next time, folks.